life. Here's
Very good.
Very good.
Ron, you
No, you go that way.
No, you wrote about George.
Does it?
Yep.
What do I know about George?
You wrote about him.
Yeah, I did, but I'd like to get a copy of his book.
Well, that would be a nice.
I have
thing.
two.
No, that would be a rare book now. So
And
George, I'll
Be-
get your book.
And George Beers himself.
Here's to beers. Rhymes with beers. That's how I met Jim.
Cheers.
That's how I met all of you guys. So because of George Beers, I'm having a whiskey here with you boys, and that's the best. Cheers.
Yay.
All right, don't drink
Yeah.
yet. Don't drink yet. All right, Dougie.
Everything that I have in my life is because of the game of lacrosse. It is. It's true. Like
It's true.
work and everything that has come to me, family, everything is because of the great game of lacrosse. Friendship amongst all of you that I've known for many, many years. So cheers to all of you, and thank you, George, for introducing me to this fine group of guys.
George was a visionary.
Yes.
He was a visionary, and he also set the tone at a time when change was required. And the next 5 to 7 years, we may see another change with the rules to allow the game to grow again internationally within the
Gotta be flexible.
Cheers.
All right.
He could have been on our board. He would have been a good member of the board. Yeah.
Cheers. Yep. My kids brought me into lacrosse. I didn't know anything about lacrosse, and learned and researched and found that Beers had set up the rules and put a lot of things in place for us to share and have this game. So look forward to doing this and bringing it back to the native community that really started the whole thing.
All right.
So glad you came. You did a fantastic job here.
Awesome lecture.
Yeah.
That was a very
Did a
impressive.
really good job.
Okay, so George, you made us professionals as tall as we couldn't play.
You're a bit of a dick.
I'm honored. You thought that much of us. You didn't want to come near us. We're still here. We're playing the game. We're showing you that we are viable, professional or not. Thanks, George.
All right.
Cheers.
All right.
Good job, Alf.
The story of lacrosse did not start with George Beers, and it will not end with George Beers. And I would say to the next 150 years.
Ah, wonderful. Very nice. Very nice.
Don, great job too.
Yeah.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, George. I don't have a lot to say about George, but he had great mutton chops. I like that a lot. He would have fit in the 60s really nicely. On a serious note, he brought, very roundabout way, George Beers brought me back to my roots in New Westminster. I guess if he hadn't invented the game and it hadn't spread west to New Westminster, etc., I wouldn't be here. So he brought me back to the New Westminster into the Sand Valley. So cheers to George for that.
Cheers. Eagle Man.
All right, well, I'm clearly the youngest one here, so I want to start off by thanking you guys for allowing me to come here. But I want to thank him for creating definitely, the highlight of my sporting career. I think we all can agree it was definitely a special part of our lives. And I've been fortunate enough to coach. I intend to coach my kids and keep that in the family. And yeah, just thank you, Mr. Beers.
All right.
Excellent.
All right. Well, I want to look at what George did. George took that trip across the St. Lawrence River many times to Ganawagi because he loved the game so much and wanted to learn more about the game. And he became friends with Big John Rice and then Big John Canadian. And they knew that by working together, they could take this game to the British Empire and spread it throughout the world. And so I toast George for having the vision to make it a modern game, but understanding that its roots are deep and they come from our First Nations friends.
And finally, what I'd like to say about George, one of the greatest marketing men in history. He marketed something that no one knew anything about, no one wanted, nobody cared about, and he brought it really to fruition. The greatest Canadian nationalist I've ever read about, Victoria Order of Rifles, dealing with the Fenians, going down to the United States and lecturing about why Canada needed to exist as a country. And just on top of that, just the most incredible game that I've been graced with my whole life. Like, since I was 7, and it'll never stop. And I thank you all for coming here. Glad to share this place, this moment with you. And cheers, boys. I'm getting thirsty.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Come on in.
Cheers.
Okay. There it is.
Come on, man. Get your hand.